and welcome to the deep dive.
Mm.
Today we're diving deep into something that's been on your mind lately, and you even sent over some research to help us out. It's all about that tingling and numbness you've been feeling. So we're going to tackle diabetic neuropathy head on.
Yeah, that's right.
And let me tell you, getting ready for this deep dive, some of the things I learned about how high blood sugar can really mess with your nerves. Well, let's just say I'm glad we're having this conversation.
It's definitely a topic everyone should know about. So to kick things off, diabetic neuropathy is basically nerve damage. It happens when your blood sugar levels are consistently high.
Okay, that makes sense, but it sounds kind of scary.
It can be, but like they say, knowledge is power, right? This nerve damage usually pops up in the feet and legs first. Think about it. Those are the furthest points from your heart's central command. And here's the thing. The longer someone has diabetes, especially if their blood sugar isn't well managed, the higher their chances of developing neuropathy.
So it's almost like a ticking clock. The sooner you get things under control, the better.
Exactly. And that brings us right back to what you've been feeling, that tingling and numbness.
Yeah.
Those are classic signs of diabetic neuropathy. But there's a whole range of other symptoms that can pop up too. We're talking burning pain, sharp stabbing pains, cramps that just won't quit, muscles feeling weak, even your sense of touch going haywire.
Whoa, okay, so not just tingling, but a whole fireworks show of unpleasantness. That definitely sounds like a good reason to see a doctor ASAP if you start noticing any of this, right?
Absolutely. Early diagnosis is key here. The sooner you catch it, the sooner you can start managing it effectively. Speaking of which, let's dig into why this happens. How does high blood sugar actually damage those nerves?
Yeah, that's what really got me thinking. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around. Sugar seems so harmless. How can it wreak havoc on your nervous system?
Right. It's pretty wild. Think of it this way. Imagine your nerves are like a bustling city, and those tiny blood vessels are the highways bringing in all the important supplies. Now picture those highways getting jammed up with sugar. That's what high blood sugar does. Create the traffic jam in your blood vessels. And all those essential nutrients and oxygen can't reach your nerves.
So it's like the nerves are being starved and can't function properly because of the sugar overload.
Exactly. And without their vital supplies, they start to malfunction, which leads to all those symptoms we talked about. But here's the thing. It's not just high blood sugar that's contributing to the problem. It's like a perfect storm. Things like high cholesterol blood pressure that's through the roof, smoking, even carrying extra weight, they all pile on and make the neuropathy worse.
Oh, wow, so it's all interconnected.
Absolutely. It's a complex interplay of different health factors. And that's why managing diabetes is so important. But that's a conversation for our next part. For now, how about we shift gears and talk about those symptoms you mentioned earlier, particularly the tingling and numbness. Let's explore what can be done to manage the discomfort that often comes with neuropathy.
Perfect. I know that's a big concern for you. But before we move on, can you tell me more about the nerve damage itself? Is it something that can be reversed once it's happened?
That's the million-dollar question. Sadly, there's no magic cure for diabetic neuropathy. But here's the silver lining. While you can't completely reverse the damage, you can manage the symptoms and prevent it from getting worse.
Okay, so no magic wand to wave away the damage. That's disappointing, but at least there are ways to manage it. So where do we start? What can be done to make living with neuropathy a little less, well, tingly?
It all starts with taking control of the root cause blood sugar. Think of it as the foundation of your neuropathy management plan.
Okay, that makes sense. But what does managing blood sugar actually look like in practice?
It's a team effort, really. You'll work closely with your healthcare team, keeping a watchful eye on your blood sugar levels through regular monitoring. It's like a detective tracking down clues to understand the patterns and fluctuations. And then comes the fine-tuning, adjusting your diet and medication to bring those levels into a healthy range.
So kind of like a personalized recipe for blood sugar control.
Exactly. And just like a recipe, it's unique to each individual and their needs. Now, let's not forget about the discomfort. I know those symptoms, especially the tingling and numbness, can be downright bothersome.
Yeah, that's definitely been a concern. So what can be done to ease the pain and discomfort?
Well, there are a few paths we can explore. For some simple over-the-counter pain relievers like ibuprofen can do the trick. But in other cases, your doctor might suggest prescription medications like anticonvulsants.
Anticonvulsants. Aren't those for seizures? How do they help with nerve pain?
It's fascinating, right? They actually work by calming down the overexcited nerves that are sending those pain signals to your brain. Think of them like traffic cops, directing the flow of those signals and preventing gridlock in your nervous system. And then there are antidepressants, which can also be surprisingly effective in managing nerve pain.
So it's not just about lifting your mood, but calming down those nerves too.
Precisely, they work on different pathways in the brain that influence pain perception. And of course, there are always topical treatments, creams, or patches you apply directly to the problem areas for more localized relief. It's like bringing the soothing balm right to the source.
It's amazing how many different approaches there are to pain management.
It really is. And beyond medication, physical therapy can be a game changer, especially if neuropathy is affecting your legs and feet. Targeted exercises can help improve muscle strength, boost your balance, and increase your overall mobility.
So it's not just about pain relief, but regaining function and getting back to doing the things you love.
Exactly. It's about empowering you to move through the world with confidence. And speaking of feet, remember all that talk about foot care in the research you sent over? Well, it's not just a footnote, it's critical.
Why is foot care so important in the context of neuropathy?
Because neuropathy can dull the feeling in your feet, making you less aware of cuts, blisters, or sores. It's like your feet are sending up warning flares, but you can't hear the alarm. And if left untreated, these seemingly minor injuries can escalate into serious infections.
So you might not even realize you've injured yourself until it's too late.
That's the danger. That's why daily foot checks are non-negotiable for anyone with diabetic neuropathy.
Okay, so imagine this. You're ending your day winding down. Instead of just kicking off your shoes, you take a moment and really look at your feet. What exactly are we searching for?
Anything out of the ordinary. Think of yourself as a foot detective. Look for any cuts, blisters, redness, swelling, or changes in skin color. And pay close attention to your shoes. They need to fit well and not rub or cause irritation. Ill-fitting shoes can be like tiny torture devices for someone with neuropathy.
Ouch, and regular checkups with a podiatrist are probably a good idea too, right?
Absolutely. Think of it like routine maintenance for your feet. A podiatrist can catch those small issues before they snowball into bigger problems.
It sounds like taking a proactive approach to foot care is essential when you're living with diabetic neuropathy.
It is. And beyond the medical interventions, remember those lifestyle factors we touched on earlier? Well, they play a starring role in managing neuropathy too. A healthy diet and regular exercise can truly make a world of difference.
When you say healthy diet, are we talking about anything specific?
Think vibrant, colorful, and packed with goodness, whole grains, lean protein, and a rainbow of vegetables. It's the kind of diet that nourishes your entire body, including those precious nerves. And let's not underestimate the power of exercise.
Even if it's just a gentle stroll around the block.
Even that can work wonders. It's about getting your blood pumping, improving circulation, and sending those nourishing nutrients to your nerves.
And of course, we can't forget about smoking, which I'm sure came up in the research you sent.
Oh, absolutely. It's public enemy number one for anyone with neuropathy. Think of smoking as a constrictor, squeezing down those blood vessels, and making it even harder for them to deliver essential supplies to your nerves.
So quitting smoking, if you haven't already, is a must for both nerve health and overall well-being.
Couldn't agree more. And finally, let's talk about supplements. They're a hot topic, and you might have come across them in your research. Some studies suggest that B vitamins and alpha-lipoic acid could potentially help with nerve pain.
Oh, interesting. So like a little extra support for those struggling nerves.
Exactly. But here's the caveat. Supplements aren't a magic bullet. And it's crucial to chat with your doctor before adding anything new to your routine.
Because what works for one person might not work for another, right?
Exactly. Plus, supplements can interact with other medications you're taking, so it's always best to get that professional guidance. It's about making informed decisions that are tailored to your unique health profile.
It sounds like managing diabetic neuropathy really requires a holistic approach, addressing everything from blood sugar to lifestyle factors. It's about looking at the whole picture, not just individual symptoms.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about taking a comprehensive approach to your health and working closely with your healthcare team to develop a personalized plan that aligns with your specific needs and goals.
And that personalized plan will probably evolve over time, right? As your needs change or as new treatment options become available.
Absolutely. Managing a chronic condition like diabetic neuropathy is an ongoing process, not a one-time fix. Think of it as a journey of continuous learning, adjusting, and fine-tuning to achieve the best possible outcome. It requires ongoing monitoring, open communication with your healthcare providers, and a willingness to adapt as needed.
It's a journey, not a destination. And speaking of journeys, it sounds like we've covered a lot of ground today, from the ins and outs of diabetic neuropathy to the various ways to manage it.
We have, and I think it's important to circle back to the idea of early detection.
Right. The sooner you recognize those telltale signs, like the tingling and numbness you've been experiencing, the sooner you can seek medical attention.
Exactly. Don't wait for those symptoms to become overwhelming or debilitating before taking action.
Because as we've learned, while there's no cure for diabetic neuropathy, there's a lot that can be done to manage it and maintain a good quality of life.
Absolutely, and I think that's a really hopeful message to leave people with.
It is knowledge is power, and the more we understand about diabetic neuropathy, the better equipped we are to navigate it and live our best lives.
I completely agree, and that's what I love about these deep dives. They give us the opportunity to really explore a topic in depth
Uh-huh.
and gain a deeper understanding of how it impacts our lives.
They do, and they remind us that even in the face of challenging health conditions, there's always hope. And there are always things we can do to take control of our well-being.
Beautifully said. And on that note,
Mm.
I think it's time to wrap up this part of our deep dive into diabetic neuropathy.
Sounds good to me. But before we go, I want to leave you with something to ponder as you continue your journey with this condition.
I'm all ears. What do you have in mind?
Well, we've talked a lot about the connection between blood sugar and nerve health. So, knowing what we now know, my question is this. What are some small changes you can make today to support your overall well-being, even beyond managing those potential neuropathy symptoms?
That's a fantastic question. It encourages our listener to think proactively about their health and to consider the ripple effects of even small changes. It's about empowering them to take an active role in their own well-being. It's about shifting from a mindset of reaction to one of prevention and proactive care.
Exactly. And remember, we've only scratched the surface here. There's a wealth of information out there about diabetic neuropathy. We encourage you to continue researching, exploring reputable sources, and most importantly, to consult with your doctor for personalized advice and guidance. Your doctor can help you create a tailored plan that takes into account your individual medical history, lifestyle, and goals.
They're your best resource for navigating this condition and making informed decisions about your health. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Reach out to support groups, connect with online communities, and surround yourself with people who understand and can offer encouragement and guidance. We're here to support you too. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into diabetic neuropathy. We hope you found it informative and empowering.
We did our best to distill the most important information from the resources you provided, and we hope it gives you a solid foundation for understanding and managing this complex condition. Until next time, take care and stay curious.
You know, it's true what they say, knowledge really is power.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of knowledge, let's dive into those treatment options. What can be done to actually manage diabetic neuropathy and prevent things from, getting worse?
Well, it all boils down to managing blood sugar. That's the key, that's the foundation.
Okay, so managing blood sugar makes sense, but what does that actually look like day to day?
Well, it's really a team effort. You're going to be working closely with your healthcare team, keeping a close eye on your blood sugar levels through regular monitoring. It's kind of like being a detective. You're trying to understand the patterns, the ups and downs, and then you can make adjustments to your diet, maybe tweak your medications to get those levels into a healthy range.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like a personalized recipe for blood sugar control.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
And each person's recipe is going to be a little different, right?
Well,
But let's not forget about the discomfort. Those symptoms, especially that tingling and numbness, can be really bothersome.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely been a concern for our listener. So what can be done to ease the pain and discomfort?
Well, there are a few things we can try. For some people, simple over-the-counter pain relievers like ibuprofen can do the trick. But in other cases, your doctor might recommend prescription medications like anticonvulsants.
Anticonvulsants. Wait a minute, aren't those for seizures? How do they help with nerve pain?
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, right? They work by calming down those overexcited nerves that are sending all those pain signals to your brain. Kind of like traffic cops,
Yeah.
directing the flow of traffic and preventing gridlock in your nervous system. And then we have antidepressants. They can also be surprisingly helpful in managing nerve pain.
Oh, really? So it's not just about mood, but also about calming those nerves down.
That's right. They work on different pathways in the brain that influence pain perception. And then, of course, there are always topical treatments like creams or patches. You apply them directly to the area where you're feeling the pain for more targeted relief.
So many options. It's amazing.
It really is. And beyond medication, physical therapy can be a real game changer, especially if neuropathy is affecting your legs and feet. Targeted exercises can help improve muscle strength, boost your balance, and just make it easier to move around.
So it's not just about masking the pain, it's about getting back to doing the things you love.
You got it. It's about giving you back your freedom and independence. And speaking of feet, remember all that talk about foot care and the research you sent? Well, it's super important. It's not something to overlook,
Why is foot care so important when it comes to neuropathy?
because neuropathy can make your feet numb. You might not even feel cuts, blisters, or sores. It's like your feet are trying to send you a warning signal, but the wires are crossed. And if those little injuries don't get treated, they can turn into serious infections.
Yikes. So you might not even know you've hurt yourself until it's too late.
Exactly. That's the scary part. That's why daily foot checks are a must for anyone dealing with diabetic neuropathy.
Okay, so let's paint a picture here. It's the end of the day, you're winding down. Instead of just kicking off your shoes, you take a moment to really look at your feet. What are we looking for exactly?
Anything unusual, any cuts, blisters, redness, swelling, changes in skin color. And make sure your shoes fit well. You don't want them rubbing or causing any irritation. Shoes that don't fit right can be a real nightmare for someone with neuropathy.
And regular visits to a podiatrist are probably a good idea too, right?
Absolutely. Think of it like regular maintenance for your feet. A podiatrist can spot those small problems before they turn into big ones.
It sounds like being proactive about foot care is key when it comes to managing diabetic neuropathy.
It really is. And remember those lifestyle factors we talked about earlier? Well, they play a huge role in managing neuropathy too. A healthy diet and regular exercise can make a world of difference.
When you say healthy diet, what exactly do you mean?
Think lots of color and flavor, whole grains, lean protein, a rainbow of vegetables. That's the kind of food that nourishes your whole body, including those nerves. And don't underestimate the power of exercise.
What about just a gentle walk around the neighborhood?
Even that can be incredibly beneficial. It gets your blood flowing, improves circulation, and helps deliver those nutrients to your nerves.
And we can't forget about smoking. I'm guessing that came up in the research.
Oh yeah, definitely smoking is one of the worst things you can do if you have neuropathy. It's like putting a clamp on those blood vessels, making it harder for them to deliver those essential nutrients to your nerves.
So, quitting smoking is a must for both nerve health and overall well-being.
Absolutely. Now, one last thing to touch on is supplements. They're a popular topic, and you might have come across some information about them in your research. Some studies suggest that B vitamins and alpha-lipoic acid might be helpful for nerve pain.
Interesting. So they can provide a little extra support for those struggling nerves.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Supplements aren't a magic cure. And it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor before adding any new supplements to your routine.
Makes sense. Everyone's different, and what works for one person might not work for another.
Right. And supplements can interact with other medications you might be taking, so it's always best to get that professional guidance. It's about making informed decisions that are right for you.
It sounds like managing diabetic neuropathy really takes a whole body approach, looking at everything from blood sugar to lifestyle choices.
Exactly. It's about taking a holistic approach, working with your healthcare team to come up with a plan that meets your individual needs.
A plan that evolves over time as your needs change.
Absolutely. Managing a chronic condition like diabetic neuropathy is an ongoing process. It's not a one-and-done kind of thing. It's more like a journey with lots of learning, adjusting, and fine-tuning along the way. You need to be willing to adapt as needed, and communication with your healthcare providers is crucial.
So it's a journey, not a destination. And speaking of journeys, it feels like we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have, and before we move on, I think it's important to emphasize the importance of early detection.
Right, catching those early warning signs like that tingling and numbness is so important.
Exactly. Don't wait until things get really bad before seeking help.
Because even though there's no cure for diabetic neuropathy, there's a lot we can do to manage it and live a full and active life.
That's a really important message and one that gives me hope.
Me too. Knowledge is power. And the more we learn about diabetic neuropathy, the better equipped we are to take control.
Absolutely. And that's why I love these deep dives. They give us a chance to really explore a topic and understand how it affects our lives.
I agree. They remind us that even when faced with health challenges, there's always hope and things we can do to improve our well-being.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this part of our deep dive on diabetic neuropathy.
Sounds good, but before we do, I want to leave our listener with one final thought as they continue on this journey.
I'm listening. What is it?
We've talked a lot about the connection between blood sugar and nerve health. So here's my question. Knowing what you now know, what's one small change you can make today to improve your overall health, even beyond managing those potential neuropathy symptoms?
That's a great question. It challenges our listener to be proactive and think about how even small changes can make a big difference. It's about taking ownership of your health and well-being, moving from a reactive mindset to a proactive one.
Exactly. And remember, this is just the beginning. There's so much more to learn about diabetic neuropathy. Keep researching, explore those reputable sources. And most importantly, talk to your doctor. They can help you create a plan that's tailored to your unique needs and goals.
Your doctor is your best ally in this journey. They can help you navigate all the options and make informed decisions. And remember, you're not alone in this. There are support groups, online communities, places where you can connect with others who understand what you're going through, people who can offer support and encouragement.
It's like having a whole team cheering you on.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into diabetic neuropathy. We hope you found it helpful and empowering.
We've done our best to break down the information you provided, and we hope this gives you a solid foundation for understanding and managing this complex condition. Until next time, take care and stay curious.